trying to sell its global ports business, but geopolitical tension and legal challenges stalled the deal. Rich Thomason reported.
The United States has carried out its first deportation under an agreement for Liberia to accept up to 1,200 people who are not from the African country. It is one of the Trump administration's largest efforts yet to deport people to countries other than their own. More on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
What blinding flash of brilliance is on Coast to Coast AM tonight?
Well, we listen, but do we really hear? I'm George Norrie, and with our guest Denver Gale, as we discuss really listening to people, followed by the psychic Erica Busahedi, right here on Coast to Coast AM.
Let me have a set.
Coast to Coast AM, sunscreen not required.
How far are we?
Almost there. That one's weird, but it's good.
I know, it tastes good.
Great one.
It's not grape, it's cotton candy.
Oh. Right.
Here we go.
Not necessarily those of KSCO staff, management, or advertisers. If something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@KSCO.
Play the girl one. No.
Already loaded.
Why do you keep playing the same
It's
one?
like, I like this one.
What? You keep playing the same one over and over.
Yeah, because we're trying to like get like our bumper.
No, you're like hitting the wrong buttons. Okay.
Welcome to Night Hawk Radio. This is Ginni, and I'm here with Kelly Powers. This is our second hour of the Night Hawk Resurrected, and we are being joined tonight by
Jonathan Goldman. He is coming all the way from the Rockies of Colorado, which is amazing. We love Colorado. Welcome to everybody that's new to the Night Hawk Resurrected. We are on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. You can find us all over social media and YouTube and all those platforms at Night Hawk Resurrected.
and we're broadcasting from
KSCO Santa Cruz, 1080 AM, 104.1 FM, and AM 1340 KONY, La Selva Beach. Just a reminder, you guys, go to healingsounds.com and you can find everything that Jonathan has been working on for years and years and years. And we are grateful to him for that. So, do you want to, Jonathan, do you want to talk about books or I kind of
How about
stopped
the
you?
pillars.
Okay, we were on the pillars, right? For sure, before the break.
Just want to do this because it's so important, it's so foundational, and because there's so much of a really misunderstanding about sound. In this last one, but I was asking you about the fact, were you allergic to penicillin?
No.
You said no, and I understood that, but in a workshop, usually anywhere between 10 to 20% of an audience, sometimes more, sometimes 30, will be allergic to penicillin. If everything in the universe is in a state of vibration, then penicillin is a vibration or a series of frequencies, and it's going to be healing for probably 80% of an audience, but it's going to be toxic for 20%. And this brings in the third, if you like, the pillars, which is that we are all unique vibratory beings. This is huge because so many people in the sound healing field think, oh, we're all the same. No, we're not all the same. And this is so important because therefore people get very, very much locked into certain frequencies doing X, Y, or Z, and then either become really disappointed because it doesn't do anything, or worse, become going, this whole sound healing field is nonsense, when really the idea works, but it may not be the correct resonant frequency or vibration for you.
Right. This might not even be a question that you know the answer to, but we are in like a really new AI world, right? Is there any research and development into artificial intelligence and the use of sound and frequencies on healing the body, like especially when it comes to the difference between everybody's body and how the body reacts.
I suspect that there will be. Look, there's a lot of instrumentation that is out there that claims to be able to give us readings and project the correct resonant frequency. So I have no question about the fact that this will occur probably relatively soon. Maybe it's occurring now, I don't even know. But I will tell you this, in terms of AI music, and this one I don't know personally, except I was watching a wonderful YouTube man by the name of Rick Beato, who is a brilliant musician and brilliant interviewer. He's talking about the fact that his young kids, who are perfect pitch, he's really trained them, they can hear the difference between music that is and isn't created by AI. In other words, there's almost some sort of harmonic frequency that my old ears can no longer detect, but his kids can.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so we got, and this is a little early, but I think this is kind of a cool question. John from Los Angeles has this question. Conscious humming is one of the simplest tools you teach. You research links into nitric oxide, reducing stress hormones, and more. What makes humming so uniquely powerful for modern people who feel disconnected from their own voice?
Okay, Kelly, can I take about 5 minutes to answer this most important question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, John, because I am a huge, as you know, advocate of conscious humming. And in fact, my wife Andy and I are the authors of a book called Humming Effect. And bottom line is, we came up with, and this is the first commercially available book written on the subject of humming. And now, if you look on the internet, there's all sorts of people who are picking up on it. I love it because it's so powerful. What makes humming so powerful? Number one, it's the most powerful vibro-acoustic sound that we can make. If I were to basically say, okay, Kelly, I'm going to ask you to hum, and make sure your lips are closed when you do that. So you're going to hum with just, we actually have some protocols of conscious humming, and such as working with taking a nice deep, relaxed breath and humming on one note at a comfortable pitch, but you got to keep your lips closed. So in other words, I'm going to do an example of Now, if I do this, you might not believe me. So could you try to do something like that and then pitch your nose?
I can't.
You can't. Your nose is pitched.
You can't.
Okay, so that's because if you like, see, as soon as you open your mouth, the sound comes out of your mouth, which is great for doing it in a group, but for doing it by yourself, the most powerful sound you can make is the hum. It's totally self-contained within your cranium and your vocal apparatus, and some of the things that occur are get 15 times the level of nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator that relaxes and widens our blood vessels. And it's also, nitric oxide is also an antiviral and bacterial agent. Also, you get increased levels of melatonin. But here's the really, really important one. If you do this conscious humming for a minute or two, you'll get lowered blood pressure and heart rate. Let me do a drum roll on this. This is something everybody can do. We're all so stressed out. Humming will lower your heart rate and your blood pressure. And this is not made up, this is real. And I can testify to it because I have what's called white coat syndrome.
Yeah.
I go to the doctor and I go,
Me too. I get into the doctor's office and my blood pressure is instantly like 150 over 90, 160 over 90. And I'm like, guys, I swear it's not like this normally. The second I get in that office, they're like, here's like 9 pills because you got freaking high blood pressure. And it's not. It's just from going into that seat.
Okay, so Kelly, we share this.
Yes.
And let me just tell you. So I'll sit there and I'll say, just give me a couple minutes. And I'll take a couple of deep breaths. And I'll begin to hum, such as I did. And I'll do it about 3 to 4 times, which takes about a minute, minute and a half. And my blood pressure will go from 150 down to 130.
Yeah.
That's pharmaceutical levels.
Yes.
There's a fellow by the name of Dr. Bruce Lipton, who wrote this wonderful book called The Biology of Belief. And on the back of the humming effect, he says, I highly recommend the humming effect for all those impacted by the stress of the modern world. It is a powerful, non-pharmaceutical prescription for self-healing that has only positive side effects such as harmony, health, and happiness. But once again, the idea that we can do humming and just literally, and you were talking about the fact that so many people have difficulty making sound in public. This is why, right, my wife Andy and I, here's the story. My wife Andy and I were teaching at the Royal College of Music in London. We had 500 people in the audience. It was great, and what a wonderful vibrational place to teach in. And I was like, okay, because it was a return trip going there the year before. And I said, okay, how many of you are doing this exercise we showed you the year before? And about 2 people raised their hand. And it really struck me that I needed to come up with some sort of sound that was so easy that everybody could do it, that nobody could have any problem making the sound. And I said, Andy, what sort of sound is? We looked at each other and we went, And so we looked at the humming effect, and we said, okay. And as we went deeper and deeper into the sound, it became more and more profound. So, okay, what are we going to do that's going to get people to take this seriously? And so we got to make the first chapter nothing more or less than peer-reviewed scientific medical studies on the uses of humming to create physiological benefits. And I didn't even, you get the release of oxytocin, which is the trust hormone. You get the release of endorphins, your self-created, hoping to get increased oxygen in the cell. So there's all these physiological benefits just by making this very simple sound, but maybe the most profound. And let me just get going on a roll for a second. There is, if you like, a book in the yogic tradition called the Yoga Sutras. That's thousands of years old by a man by the name of Patanjali. And Sutra 1.27 says, and this is Goldman's soundbite version of it, the original sound of creation was the humming of prana, the humming of energy. They had to give it a name, so they called it Om. So in other words, the Om that thousands, millions of people do actually comes
From humming. Interesting. One of my favorite things to do is to walk my amazing little dogs. I have 2 pugs and I love them. And put on some music, right? And walk and kind of get out of your head, get something really amazing playing that makes you feel good. But I can tell you, I don't have my singing voice is like nails on a chalkboard. But what I can do is I can walk down the street and I can hum it. And I don't have people looking at me like crazy. And there's something therapeutic about
Humming
the
the music?
Yes.
Oh, so you're humming the music.
Yes.
So instead of singing,
You don't want to hear me singing down the street walking my dogs. Like people will be looking at me like I'm an alien walking down the street. But humming has been a really therapeutic way to kind of silence that voice in the head that, all the work and the daily stuff. But the humming is a very therapeutic way to get out of your head.
Right.
Terry, if I can just throw in one more aspect, which is one more of the protocols of conscious humming, is that you hum on one note.
One note.
Rather than doing zippity-doo-dah or tune or Beethoven's 12th or whatnot. And that's because when you hit one note, you're creating a sustained vibration on one particular frequency, whatever the frequency is for you. And once again, you want to do it in a comfortable tone for your voice. And a lot of people who are into sound healing are looking for their frequency. I'm going to suggest oftentimes that their frequency is going to be very close to the conversational voice because it's a sound our body and our brain and our energy field has been resonating with since we were born. conversational voice. Not something far out, oh, this is whatever, but just our voice. What a concept. Yes.
Going back to the
And really check yourself out when you do this with you. I don't know if you want to play and just try it with me for 3 times and see if you feel anything, or if it doesn't feel appropriate, we continue on.
No, we can do it.
What are we doing?
Are we humming? One.
Okay, so let me go through the protocols again, because anybody who's listening, you want to first check yourself out just to see where you are, because you can't tell where you've been till you know where you are. And second of all, you take some nice, deep and relaxed breathing, because deep and relaxed breathing is the key to everything. Breath is the key to life, so you got to take some nice breaths. Keep your lips closed, hum on one note, hum at a comfortable pitch, and then we're going to hum a minimum of 3 to 5 times, and finally, we're going to be in silence for an equal amount of time. And this gets into the 4th pillar of sound healing, which I'm getting into, which is silence is golden. Because silence is the yin to the yang of sound, and it's the place where literally the true shifts and changes occur. We don't know how to be silent in today's world. We're so active. So I'm going to ask that, and I know this is live radio, so we're not going to be silent for more than a few seconds, but just take that in the silence. Just really experience it. So for a moment, just check yourself out, and anybody who's listening, if you want to go ahead and do this too. And then we're going to do just 3 hums and see if you can feel the difference, okay? Take a nice deep breath. Release it with a sigh. And now we'll just do 3 nice hums. Very comfortable and relaxed. Right? Take a nice deep breath in. Just one more. Just being in silence for a moment, checking yourself out. Do you feel anything different?
Yeah, that was interesting. That almost took me back to the sound bath. You could like feel the frequencies that, you could feel the vibration.
Well,
Wrong word.
It's the state.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And believe it or not, if we did it 5 times instead of 3, it would have been a little more awesome. But then you want to stop and you want to be in silence. Why? Because on a level, particularly with regard to something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is literally a gas that has incredible healing abilities, and it basically needs to regenerate, which is also why you want to be in silence, so the nitric oxide can regenerate in the cells and you can manifest more.
Nitrous.
So, okay, this is a perfect segue. So, Gary in San Francisco wrote, what role does silence play in sound healing? So I know you talked about that, and I was like, wow, that was the universe giving us a perfect question.
Right, it was, and I'm going to suggest once again, so it is one of the 4 pillars, and it is, if you like, mandatory. We have forgotten how to be in silence. It's unbelievable. So many people get so enamored with making sound that they forget about the power of silence. Again, silence is the yin to the yang of sound. Did you know that silent is an anagram of listen? And it says, be still and listen within. So if you're making a sound and then you get into silence, you allow the sound, if you like, time to assimilate into the body, brain, energy fields. It's mandatory, it's really important. And I want anybody who's listening who's into sound healing, and incidentally, in a lot of different traditions, just being in silence and listening, you listen to inner sounds that you can travel to higher levels of consciousness with.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, and it's I hope something that the listeners take advantage of. So for what advice would you give to somebody that says, I have, I can't sing, I have no music ability, but they want to use sound for healing? What advice would you give them? To hum?
Everybody can hum.
Hum.
Everybody can hum. That's the whole thing. Babies can hum. The elderly hum. We hum when we're happy. You can't hum when you're mad. Try to hum when you're mad and can't do it. So it's just one of those great. Now, mind you, Kelly, I have a brand new book that just came out this week called Ascension Harmonics. And it's perhaps the most powerful sound that I have come across. And oftentimes I will teach workshops at every place from synagogues to churches to yoga ashrams or whatnot. And I'll teach something called the Alpha and Omega of sound. The Alpha is the hum. The Omega are these harmonics of the divine name. But we can go through so many different places. And also what's so interesting is as you begin, I like to say, you remember how they used to say that marijuana was a gateway drug?
Yes.
Well, I like to say that humming is a gateway sound.
It's the gateway to absolute divine, having your mind clear and divine happiness and healing. So tell us about your new book. What can people expect from it? What's in it?
Wow. Okay, let me switch courses from going from the hum to, all right, so the divine name is a sound that is a trans-denominational, non-denominational, universal sound that you can find in all the different traditions. And it is composed of vowel sounds. It was something that sort of was revealed to me back in the mid-1990s when I woke from a dream. And I had been teaching people how to use vowel sounds to resonate the chakras, the energy centers of the body. I had literally gotten this information from a deep meditation back on the spring equinox of 1986, so close to 10 years later. I was teaching it going from the base of the spine, the root going all the way up to the crown, spring. But when I woke from this dream, this voice says, we want you to intone the vowel sounds going from the top of your head down to the base of your spine and then up again. Kelly, I had been doing this for 10 years. I knew going up from the root to the top, like the back of my hand, but I couldn't do the front of my hand. I could not go down. I literally had to write out the vowel.
So you could go up, but you couldn't go down.
No, because I just didn't know it. It was just, it was unbelievable. So I literally had to write it down, and then I made the sound.
Okay.
And things happened. When I made the sound, I felt the energy go from the top of my head to the base of my spine, going back up again. And also, I heard a sound that sounded like this. Which sounded a whole lot like an elongated Yahweh, which is the ancient Hebrew name of the divine that was given Moses.
God.
And believe it or not, this name was literally removed from the Bible about 6,000 times. It was banned from the Bible probably for around 2,500 years, to the degree that I think the intonation of how to do this got lost and perhaps was given me. Now, mind you, this name, if you like, which is called the Tetragrammaton, because it is the four-letter, if you like, name for God. This Tetragrammaton, the Yod, the Hey, and the Vav, the Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, the consonants in Hebrew, have been chanted by people very successfully. And I have nothing. I have discovered something that works very well for me and for a lot of people. And I've, of course, created this book called Ascension Harmonics, because harmonics are the sounds found within the vowel sounds. And the vowel sounds are considered sacred in almost all the traditions. If you like, in the magical traditions, consonants are the communication between the earth, but the vowel sounds create communication with the divine. And the harmonics, which are, if you like, and this is a little bit of a complicated subject, but basically when people hear sound, when we hear sound, we're not hearing single tone frequencies. We're actually hearing composite frequencies that are mathematically related. They're related by the whole numbers, which are quantum in nature. And these are called harmonics. And these harmonics make up the timbre or tone color of the sounds that we hear.
I
Throw a lot of stuff at you.
no. You're good. We're at our last commercial break, and I don't want to ask another question because I think we need to take the last break. Ginny, take the break, and then we'll bring it back, and I'll start reading some more questions from people.
We'll be back after these messages.
Bill Graff here, talking with Alexander Hagen from Etheric Networks. Alex,
Okay,
me about
6
your
minutes.
crew. We have about 45
Okay.
staff here in the Bay Area, double E and RF engineering.
Is it-
I have some top networking guys. We get
Pretty
some
amazing,
vendors.
Greg.
We've been doing this for 20 years. We
Yeah,
consider
so you know
ourselves
that,
out in
like,
honesty, very strong on the technical side of the business. And we also
breathing
like what
in
we do.
and
It's like,
breathing
you know, we
out
like what you do.
is
We want our
Yahweh.
customers to be happy all the time. And
So when
Okay.
you breathe in and you breathe out,
you remember back
that's
in the
what the
store.
sound
That's what he's
is.
talking about.
Yeah, that's like God giving you breath.
I would suggest sending a mail to sales.
And it's all Yahweh that's that like sound.
So do you think they took that away purposefully
Yes,
because
they
it
took
was
it
a
out of the Bible
healing?
because it used to be Yahweh instead of God in the Bible.
That has information with our phone number. Our
They took it out 600 or 6,600 times.
The Ramsey Show, the common denominator among people
They
that
took
win with
God
money
out
and budget. If you want to win at
7,000 times.
something, winning is a
still
series
had
of
stuff.
intentional acts. If you want to be married successfully, it's a series of intentional acts, behaviors, attitudes. If you want to be fit, it's a series of acts, behaviors, attitudes. Building wealth is the same way. You don't accidentally become wealthy. Oops, said no millionaire ever.
Dave Ramsey, Monday through Thursday, noon till 2. KSEO, KOMY.
Hi, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum inviting you to join me 1 o'clock Saturday for McCollum Wellness Radio. I'll be discussing some of the latest trends in building your immune system. It used to be survival of the fittest. Now it's survival of the healthiest with the strongest immune system. Tune in so I can walk you through some of the best things that
Do you
can
want to go
boost your immune
to?
system, reduce brain fog, increase your energy, and have an amazing life. Tune in this
The one
Saturday
here or in
on
Aptos?
KSEO for McCollum
Either
Wellness
or.
Radio.
I'm like up for either one.
Okay.
I would go to the one up the
You're going
street
to
here.
meet
Okay.
I would do that. Can we choose the pizza
You're going to meet
Mhm.
us.
and we'll get a burger?
Hmm.
Should we just share a burger this
I don't
time?
need my whole. I won't even eat a whole one. I'll eat a half.
Can we-
You're going to meet our
I know,
technical skills.
maybe we can ask them to put the lettuce on the side. and you
Oh,
can
that's
put
a good
the
idea.
lettuce in yours.
Okay.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills.
You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. Support us at 4h.org.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fairchild, and I am a lifetime lover of animals. I've rescued every pet I've ever had, so I know firsthand that when you
rescued every pet I've ever had.
Well, rescue animals, there's like a certain, like they know they've been saved. So there's this.
I've had a lot of rescues.
I know you've probably had more rescues than.
Yeah, we've had 5 total now.
Did your mom rescued?
Well, we also,
She rescued.
not necessarily, because we had,
Was Bentley a rescue?
yes,
Is Bentley
what-
still alive?
yeah. So we used to have, poodles that were purebloods. We used to have golden retrievers that were purebloods. So that's not necessarily true. And then we had.
We humans are proud of our brains and our ability to think and be aware. We even named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning man who is wise. But humans are emotional creatures too, and while we've been taught that the brain controls the actions of the body and its organs, what's a lot less appreciated is the impact the organs have on the activity of the brain. This relationship is especially significant when it comes to art.
The female one's a little super hardcore.
No, it's not. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. You need to have one that's
like a little more like mellow.
That's why I like a lot of people like that red plate spray.
Reason and remember and make good decisions. What's more, because the link goes in 2 directions.
You'll see when it comes on, it's like super.
Stress also returns back to the heart, ultimately impacting cardiac health and the wellness of the entire circulatory system. If you have a history of heart disease or you want to prevent it, working with thoughts and emotions can be an effective cardio health strategy. Simply recall a time you felt really happy and content. Bring that feeling back to your mind and body.
Nothing.
You'll know you're getting heart health benefits when your breathing slows down and deepens. And when the heart signals
I don't
calmly back to the
necessarily know
brain,
if it's the best thing for night.
It's not, but you'll be fine.
It's like drinking Red Bull at night.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the same chemicals as Red Bull.
You hear how loud those mics?
What?
Those mics are.
Turn them down. Why are they so loud?
Probably because they can't hear from shooting. They're reading more.
Oh. They were loud from that.
Yeah.
KSCOhealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at KSCOhealth.com. That's KSCOhealth.com.
And welcome back to the Night Hawk Resurrected. That's Kelly's.
Ginny thinks that one's like way too much for this
It's a
episode.
little-
I
it's a
should have
little
made
loud.
one specifically for this episode. Next time you come on, I'll have a song specifically to you. Okay, so I had a question about the sound day. Where is it?
I was telling
Oh, here
Kelly,
it is. Here it is. Here it is. Hang on.
telling Kelly that before we went on break, that when you breathe in and you breathe out, that's saying Yahweh.
That's the breath.
Yes, breath. God's giving you breath.
And why do you think that was taken out of is that because of the healing properties that came with it? Yeah, what do you personally think? Why do you think that it got taken out of biblical script?
Kelly, first of all, I like to say that the divine name is a hotline to the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the hotline to the divine, meaning that when you learn to properly intone this with the right intention, okay, you can get, if you like, direct communication with higher levels of consciousness.
Right.
If you can get direct levels of communication with higher levels of consciousness, then you don't need a middleman, i.e. the rabbi, the priest, or whomever.
Got it.
Therefore, it's like, yikes, let's take that away from the people and take away their power.
Well, I mean, that definitely. So have you seen a shift to where people are now more open and willing to accept these gifts that were given to us?
I believe, when I first discovered this,
Yeah.
Because people aren't ready. And then some years later, my friend Greg Brady was teaching a workshop. My wife Andy and I were in the workshop, and the workshop that Greg was teaching was on a subject called the God Code. And I turned to Andy and said, he's teaching Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, and he's talking about the Tetragrammaton. So after the workshop, Greg and I and Andy went out to dinner. I said, Greg, you know, I made this discovery. I haven't shared it with anybody, but I think that this might be relevant for your audience. I'm going to make a recording of my Tony. This is what I made. And I just asked people not to record it because I don't want it getting out. I want to keep it sacred and specific. But what happened was somebody must have done that. Basically, first of all, people had divine power experiences for listening to the sound. But at the same time, somebody must have recorded it inadvertently. It appeared on the internet, and I thought, okay, well, I need to make a hi-fi version. I put out this hi-fi version, high fidelity version, as a CD called "The Divine Name Sounds of the God Code." And from there, I then began teaching it because I realized that when people were at, it's just a matter of activation. Kelly, the more I become, the higher consciousness I get, I realize that everything is ultimately consciousness. That if you like, and quantum physics is teaching us this as well, that consciousness is everything. I'd like to suggest that the highest aspect of consciousness is what we call love.
Right.
And the name that we give this love in a lot of different traditions, we either call source or the divine or God or some other name, but it's that energetic form. So I think that consciousness is so important. And I believe our consciousness has shifted and changed, which is why the Ascension Harmonics is a way of elevating our consciousness. It has reached its time. Now is the time for this to manifest and be known on the planet.
So I'm going to ask this question because it ties into one that I got in from Laura in Santa Cruz. So World Sound Healing Day was your creation. What inspired you to start it globally, dedicated to intentional sound?
Thank you. Beautiful question. I'll make it fast. I was in deep meditation 26 years ago, right at the turn of the century. Yikes, never said that before. This inner voice said, okay, you have now really gotten out of your way to help bring the awareness to people of how to use sound for healing on a personal level. Keep going. But we want you now to expand this and bring this into how to use sound on a planetary level. And I was like, great, tell me how a transmission got cut off. So I had to spend the next time, probably close to a year, trying to figure out how to decide that we would basically create one day a year where people would generate some sort of conscious energy, conscious sound of love to interface with what I call the Gaia Matrix. So we call this day World Sound Healing Day. It takes place on February 14th, Valentine's Day. The next one coming up is going to be on February 14th, 2027. It's going to be the 25th anniversary, and I know there's going to be something so spectacular. But quickly, I want to tell you about something called the Global Consciousness Project because it ties in with this.
Okay.
The Global Consciousness Sound Project out of Princeton, New Jersey, basically found that using a computerized program that created what's called random number generators, just as you can take a coin, flip it 100 times, get 50 heads, 50 tails, random number generator generates an equal number of zeros and ones. But when people were meditating around the computer, the numbers became askew. There were more zeros and ones, or more ones and zeros. If you were to try to graph a straight equal number of zeros and ones, it'd be a straight line, but instead you get kind of a mountainous type of graph. And this has been found where events of high compassion occur. And this has been checked out with World Sound Healing Day a number of different times, as well as many other events where people globally get together. Now, the thing about World Sound Healing Days is that most people are doing global meditations. We're adding the aspect of sound. From my perspective, sound is the element that not only combines all the different traditions. This is the reason why prayers are vocalized, or whispered, chanted, spoken, or sung, is because sound amplifies the power of prayer. And it's that simple and that profound. So we would basically, the sound that we work with is the ah sound, which is oftentimes the sound of, it's like the heart center. You can do it, ah. And incidentally, if you think about it, you can not speak a language, you can be totally non-compass mentis in terms of understanding what somebody says when they go, ah, you know what they mean because you can feel it. So the vowel sounds have this transcendental ability, and we work with the ah sound coupled with the energy of compassion, love, kindness, and project that out. We do it at one particular time globally in mass. It's usually around 12 o'clock New York time, and we have tens of thousands of people joining us so that we can interface and create some sort of coherence with the Gaia matrix, if you like, energy field of the earth. Why? Basically, I think if we can just elevate our level of compassion and kindness to each other, we do extraordinary things. You know, we were talking before about the idea of listening to each other and being kind. If we can listen to each other and be kind and just generate some sort of compassion, we can begin to work together. Because, Kelly, I think you agree that most of the problems that this planet is facing are currently human-made.
Mm-hmm.
So what if humans were to work together? I think we could overcome that. But all we got to do is start communicating using subconscious sound with each other, communicate and work together. Then you get 1 + 1 = 3.
Well, I think that if we can definitely start focusing on being better human beings than, fighting each other over stuff you don't remember from 1 week to the next, that probably would be a good start, So that kind of piggybacks off of Laura's question in Santa Cruz. She said, what happens when thousands of people sound together on World Sound Day Healing Day? What do you think happens?
Well, that's one of the things, and there's another interesting aspect. There's a phenomenon called the Maharishi effect that has been observed time and time again. I have a friend by the name of Lynn McTaggart who's written a book called The Intention Experiments, where she does these huge experiments, and she simply has people using my music. I'm thankful for that, but simply people projecting the intentionality of peace onto different cities. What they found with the Maharishi effect, that when large groups of people meditate together, the events of violence and anger in the vicinity of the meditation drop way down.
Wow. Jeez. We need to do that in every big city.
We do.
Just get everybody together and start, doing sound healing. So for the listeners that they're very new to this, is there a simple practice or something you recommend, for the listeners to try before they go to sleep tonight?
Sure. And once again, we did it. The conscious hub.
Okay.
You also get the increased levels of melatonin, right? So how cool is that? Make the sound before you go to sleep and chill you out. And I do it all the time in different places. And I gotta say this much, I work with a gazillion different sounds, different tuning forks, different bowls, bells. But the only sound that I can do when I'm lying down in bed
Is
the
hum.
because it's just so easy and we can vibrate it together. So yeah, I think that is just, it's the first step and maybe the only step that people need.
So looking ahead, in the next 10 years, where do you see sound healing going?
What's going to happen is that it's going to continue to spread. People are going to continue to be aware. I think also, as with all things, when things begin to catch on the mainstream, there are aspects of it that will lose its integrity. So that you are going to have that there's one frequency or another frequency that is the frequency. I'm going to basically suggest to you that, for example, there are people who believe that the energy of love is a specific frequency. And I understand this because I believe I'm the person who helped bring this frequency onto the planet, and it was never meant for that. Somebody else took it and said, oh, this is the frequency of love. No, it's part of it, a whole sequence. And bottom line, love can be programmed, encoded upon any frequency. And I'm just going to suggest for those who believe that love is a particular frequency, and I'm going to honor that, because if people are locked into a belief system, I honor it. But at the same time, is it necessary for a mother holding a baby and cooing a lullaby or humming a lullaby or singing a lullaby to the baby to look at a guitar tuner to make sure he's singing the right frequency?
No.
That he's projecting love? No.
No.
You know?
It's that's silly. So what's your opinion? You know, there's all these meditation videos and things that people can get into with all the different color, right? Like, so brown, white noise, brown noise, pink noise. What's your thoughts on that?
If it works for you, do it. And I love it. The only thing is, if it's frequency plus intent equals healing, then if enough people believe in something, it's going to have a whole lot of power, which is great. I'm concerned because sound is such a multifold thing. It's a full spectrum. It is a smorgasbord of frequencies and a smorgasbord of tones and harmonics. And if we get into specific frequencies as being healing, because certain people declare that it is, and other people believe it is, we're really limiting our consciousness. And I want us to evolve and not limit our consciousness. So if there is one thing about sound that in the future I'm concerned about, is that I'm concerned about limiting our consciousness about the possibilities of sound by certain people declaring that this is the sound for X, this is
Right.
the sound for Y.
Right.
It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be scientific, I have scientific instruments that use specific frequencies for healing, and this is all great. But just know I also said the word frequencies. I didn't say frequency. People are still right now stuck on frequency. What's the frequency? We have literally composite frequencies, and we're going to find out in the future that those, for the most part, are going to be the healing resonance of the different organs, bones, chakras, and the like. Combination tones.
Oh, okay. So I want to make sure the listeners know where to find your, you've released more than 25 albums. Where can they find them, and where should they start? Because that's a lot of albums.
Okay, so Jonathan Goldman is my name. I am on all platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, you name it. And I have a couple of albums that are, if you like, 5-minute versions of oftentimes hour-long recordings, because people no longer have the ability of listening to an hour-long, unless they're going for a sound bath, they realize. So, and the first one is called Frequencies.
Okay.
This is what it's called, Frequencies 2.
Okay.
And that has 20 different excerpts, or 25 different excerpts that are 5 minutes long. And you can, literally go on any of the different platforms and find it.
So for the people listening tonight, is there any particular message that's important for you to get out to the world? What would that be?
Yes. Bottom line, we heal the planet. We heal ourselves. We heal ourselves, and we heal the planet. We have a choice, and we can make a difference. That's my overall gestalt. Folks, we can do it. We just need to be in resonance and work together. Whether it's humming, or singing, or intoning the divine name, it's all good. If we can get the energy of frequency and intent, we can create miracles.
I love that. So We have about 5 minutes left. And we definitely thank you so much for your time.
Downloaded Hope single.
Guinea's got his playlist going already.
That's yours, correct?
Hope single. Yeah, he's got a whole lot of them. So I know you're immersed with sound all day, and this is your passion. Is there anything that you do outside of sound that gets you going and you love, to kind of just get away from everything?
Well, once again, if everything is vibration, then everything is sound. So I can't get away with it because it's all part of the phenomenon. But great question. Because I like to walk in nature with my wife. That's sound.
Sure.
In other words, literally, because there's a phenomenon called the Schumann resonance that is literally the vibrational frequency of the earth, and it is very healing to our body and ourselves. And we have forgotten. We've just lost our attunement to nature simply by walking in the forest, or walking around a lake, or walking around nature, and getting away from the constructs of Wi-Fi and all this stuff. We can reattune ourselves and put us back in balance. It's that simple, but that important.
So get out, get your feet in the dirt, ground yourself, right? And get into nature again.
Great stuff, yeah.
So for the callers calling in, you guys, we only have about 3 minutes left, and I just can't pull calls in because we just are out of time. I'm so sorry about that. Send your question, and I can always forward them, and I'm happy to do that. So what's on the horizon for you? Anything new? I know you got your book coming. When is that released already?
The book just got released, and I'm doing more and more stuff. And I'm sure, I'm gonna say this, that people who are into Kabbalah and into the Tetragrammaton, into the divine name, are gonna say, well, the Hebrew consonants the Hebrew letters are all consonants. And I just want to share that literally ancient biblical Hebrew actually had 4 vowel sounds, and they were the yod, the hey, the vav, and the hey. So they did double as that. So I just wanted to share that because people are all going, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's real.
I promise you that Jonathan Goldman knows what he's talking about. We're talking with the father of sound healing, and I highly recommend go pick up his books, download some of his music,
Please
and
come back again.
Yeah, please come back again. You have anything new you want to talk again about sound, you can come back. We'll do this all over again. I would love to do that. You have an open microphone here, and your voice is shooting out into the ether all over California and the Bay Area.
Well, how beautiful. And Kelly, it's just so cool for anybody who's listening. Once again, just remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others.
Yes.
So, and the hum. Try the hum. It's a great gateway sound.
We're going to be humming our way out of here. So a big thank you again. Please go to healingsounds.com. Follow him on all the different platforms that are available. He's got music, and we'll put this show out. So if you guys want to re-listen to this and go back and revisit some of the stuff that was said, it will be out at Night Hawk Resurrected. So Ginni, anything left? We've got about 1 minute to go.
Thank you again, Jonathan. It's been an amazing evening with you. Thank you, Doctor. You're really helping the souls of the world.
Yes,
and
yes.
the universe.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you both so much for this opportunity to share. It's been a real pleasure and a real blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to finish this show up tonight. I want to remind you guys. So what are we on Thursday?
Yes, we are Thursday all night.
We'll be back on Tuesday again. This is the Night Hawk Resurrected. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys again, and apologize to the callers. Didn't get to you tonight, but we will attempt to do that on Tuesday. So Ginni, we got about 30 seconds. Go ahead and take us out.
Listen up and listen in and come back again. We will be here. Night Hawk Radio.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Jesus.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you again. That was wonderful.
It was great. Thank you. You're wondrous. I love live radio. I used to be the #1 disc jockey in Central Florida in the mid-1970s.
Wow.
And so it's very cool.
Something special about radio, I'm telling you. We're trying to keep it alive. I know it's not, everybody's going all internet, but
we're in a nostalgic radio station that was built in 1941.
yeah, this station's been here for a very long time. It's like an original RCA studio, and so very cool stuff. I will have this episode for you so you can download it, you can share it, you can do whatever you want with it, and I'll send it to you first thing the first chance I get it.
And listen, I'm just going to go on because there used